All right, welcome back to the mayoral debate for the city of Abbotsford. I'm going to throw it over to Charlie Smith with a question for Bruce Banman.
Thanks, Tim. Abbotsford has expressed grave reservations about Metro Vancouver's solid waste plan. And I'm wondering if you can explain where you see Abbotsford going with this issue on solid waste and what the financial and environmental implications of that decision will be.
Well, you know, I have been a strong opponent of burning not only garbage, but burning the recyclables that end up in that stream. I've also been a pro-free enterprise when it comes to the residents of Vancouver really want to thank Abbotsford for leading the fight on this, because the tipping fees were about to double. That was going to cost everybody money that they didn't need to spend on a bad idea that your neighbors didn't like, that was going to pollute the very food basket that you were going to eat from. It just made no sense whatsoever, and I fought hard to oppose that, but now we need to work on improving it. Abbotsford has a fantastic composting facility. In the summertime, in certain neighborhoods, we were able to divert about 80% from the stream. We will work harder for recyclables and come up with better ideas for that very challenging issue that all cities face, which is solid waste.
Thank you very much. Mr. Braun?
Thank you. Well, I do not sit on the Fraser Valley Regional District Board, so I'm not privy to all of the discussions that have gone on in the past. But I do know that our diversion rate is, the last report I saw, or the minutes, was around 65%. We need to do better with our garbage than what we have been doing. I'm not a fan of incineration. I just think there's way too much particulate matter in our airshed, and we need to find other solutions other than incineration. And I really believe that sending our garbage to Cache Creek, which is about to stop, and we're going to end up sending it to Washington, will help reduce our costs. There's a cost factor to this. And I believe the last number I saw is that the taxpayers of Abbotsford will save themselves around $350,000 per year beginning next year.
Thank you very much. 5 minutes of open debate.
So I think that this is one of the most important questions that faces almost every city, is how do we deal with our recyclables? How do we deal with our compostables? And how do we deal with the residual garbage that's left? And Abbotsford has been very progressive in this regard. Our compostables now, gets turned into earth, and we're shipping it as far away as Whistler to be used as groundworks and for gardening works and landscaping up till now. Well, the other things that we need to look at as a regional district is we're looking at MRFs and dirty MRFs. And for people that don't know what that is, it's an automated way that all of the garbage gets separated. What Abbotsford does now is we use a blue bag system, not a blue bin system, because if you use a blue bag system, your paper products stay dry and you get a much better value for it. So we get the premium dollar for our recyclables. We also, with our compostables, we take all of the scraps. If you can eat it, you can compost it. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're diverting millions of tons potentially from Cache Creek or Rabanco or wherever it is we send it. But that doesn't mean that we can't strive to do better. Our future generations require that we do a much better job of garbage recycling, of taking and diverting that stream. Councillor Braun is right. Right now we have 65% diversion. In the summertime, due to grass clippings and et cetera, we actually get a much higher diversion even then. So we need to work harder with multifamily. We need to work harder with our industry. We need to work harder with anyone who creates a waste. We need to work with them to find the most efficient way to divert anything that's recyclable from a landfill, and to ensure that we find the residuals, we find more and more ways to divert it. Styrofoam, for instance, is one of the things that goes. So let's find a solution for the styrofoam. Once you get it down to the point where it's hardly anything to get rid of anymore, it becomes easier and easier to get rid of the small residual. And I believe that we can work on this. That together, there are many brilliant minds and systems throughout the world, but burning garbage is just an inherently bad, dumb idea. It contributes to low-level ozones, and low-level ozones will reduce crop production by as much as 30%. Why would you want to reduce the very crops that we may need? We believe strongly in our agricultural sector. In Abbotsford, that's a $1.8, almost $2 billion a year sector. We need to protect the ability to grow food that supplies
Thank
this
you very
region.
much. Mr. Brown, would you like to chime in on this?
Yes. First of all, we're not dealing with millions of tons. I think in Abbotsford's case, it's around 16 or 17,000 tons per year. But we need to deal with that. I also happen to believe that we need to be a little more collaborative with our regional partner, our neighbors in the region. Garbage is a regional issue, as are many other issues, and we can't deal with this in isolation. And I sometimes am a little frustrated that we appear on some fronts to be isolationists or Lone Rangers. And I don't think that's good for the relationship in the valley. I think we need to tackle this. This is an issue everywhere. So why not get together? I find myself having a hard time getting meetings because as soon as they find out I'm a councillor from Abbotsford, I sense there's some resistance to having a meeting, and I think that's sad. But we need to do a better job of this. I am concerned with sending stuff across the border, and I voiced this when Council dealt with this, and unfortunately some of this is in camera, so I can't even tell you what it is. But I can tell you this, that our American friends are much more litigious than we are. I am concerned that if there's any contamination in the United States, we don't have the same protection that we do in Canada. When we dispose of our garbage here. And so there's a balance there that we need to heed and be careful about, because all of a sudden we may be saving money on one side, but if we end up having to pay millions of dollars in damages, then what seemed like an apparent saving maybe won't turn out to be a saving, and that's a concern to me.
And I would say now that the incinerator looks as if it's dead, I think you'll find Metro Vancouver is far more likely to work with the Fraser Valley Regional District to work for a system that works for the entire valley, not one section or the other. I truly believe that there will be collaboration now that this issue has been dealt with.
Thank you. All right, let's take another break.